Do very simple, very quick and very easy chicken chow mein. And we're going to keep it pretty authentic. We're not going to do it like a stir-fry noodle. I'm going to do it like an authentic chow mein like you get in a Chinese, as close to this as you know, many of them vary. And then we're going to do vegetables separately. So I'm going to do some lovely broccoli, and I'm going to cook that broccoli in a really nice chicken stock from a stock pot. But I'm just going to add some Asian ingredients into it, just to get a little bit of extra flavour onto that broccoli, that Asian flavour, which is lovely. You can do it with different veg as well. You can do it with pak choy and a few different veg if you so choose. You don't just have to use it with broccoli. Now, put the kettle on there. Lovely. Alright, so let's get cracking. The first thing we're going to do, because it's actually one of the things that takes that little bit longer, is we're going to do the broccoli. We're just going to prepare it. And this is handy to see how to do broccoli very quickly, really easily and really quickly. A couple of seconds in fact. I'm doing it on the red board because I haven't cut any raw meat on the red board yet. If I'd done raw meat on this, I wouldn't be doing this on the board. So simply get your knife and run it in and around. Be careful, mind your fingers. And run it in and around and cut around. There's your stock. And there's your chunk of broccoli. Now if you need to, just go in again, take your time and mind your fingers. Now, and you can break those two apart. And there you go, you have broccoli. Very quick, very simple. And your stalks, if you cut, say, that bit off, get rid of that, and you trim it down, you can use that then in soup. It's great to make soup. Oh my goodness. So if a recipe asks for broccoli soup, you could use, or say you're doing like blue cheese and broccoli or something, which is a really nice soup. I think there's a recipe on my site actually. You could use that for it. And it'd be lovely. You can also use it in stocks as well, which is great. So now that that's prepared, we'll stick that in a bowl and we'll put it to one side and we'll stick that on to cook shortly. Now we want them all around the same size. That's pretty important. As much as possible. Obviously some are going to be that little bit smaller or bigger, but as much as you can, once there's not a massive difference in size. And the reason for that is you want them to cook evenly. Now here we go. We're going to get stuck into our chow mein. And this is fairly simple to do. I've got chicken mini fillets tonight. I wasn't sure about if I'd have mini fillets or breasts. We have these tonight. Somebody else is doing my shopping while I'm cocoon at the moment. So we're only going to use the equivalent to 2 breasts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's about enough there. And we're going to cut those down just into even sized chunks. Same with the broccoli. Just remember, when you're cutting anything, you're cooking it, you want to get it as even as possible. And we'll just cut that little bit of muscle out there. You want to get it as even as possible so that it'll cook evenly. So one part isn't overcooked and the other not cooked at all, basically. That's the reason for that. So it's pretty important to remember when you're cooking. Now, if I was grilling these, I'd leave them in, because they are doing them in the oven because they tend to break down. But doing them on the pan in a stir fry, that's actually quite quick to cook. They tend not to break down as much. So take them out if you're frying your chicken. Now, we need to put a little bit of oil in this. Again, we'll turn it to 6, which is the equivalent to high on most ovens. Now, I'm doing, let me see. I'm doing a stir fry, so by rights I should be using a vegetable oil or rapeseed oil or sunflower oil. I don't have one of those. I'm just checking there to see if my house makes those. We don't actually have one of those, so I'm just going to use a little olive oil. Now the reason you don't use olive oil for stir frying is, and you can use it as I am, but the reason that it's not the one you would choose first is it doesn't reach the high temperature you want. This is why I'm going to turn this up a little now. It doesn't reach the high temperature you want. The same that actual vegetable and rapeseed oils and stuff will, which is perfect for stir frying. So now we're going to just let that heat a second, and we'll just check it a little bit. We're good, you can hear the sizzle. And in that goes. So now we're done with this. We'll remove that. Give my hands a wash. Very small kitchen to work with. for doing the likes of these live videos. So that chicken is fine to sit like that. My pan is it's knocking on the stick. So it basically turns when it's ready. And if it doesn't turn before and you're having to force it to turn, it means it's not ready to turn. Just a simple kind of reminder of non-stick pans. So we'll spread it out a little. Yeah. And you see there, it's not moving, but the moment it's ready to, it will move. So get rid of that, see that we're raw bit of chicken on that, which is why I have, again, I have my red cloth. And now, this is perfectly safe to chop and so on. So let's get this done. We're not going to use all the pepper, we're only going to use some of it. If you're cooking for a family of 4, I'd use all the pepper. Stick it down. Now it's up to you can leave them like this if you so choose, or you can cut them that bit smaller, it's totally up to you. That chicken, I think that pan is just a little bit hot. And I'm listening to the sizzle there, that's telling me while I'm busy doing this, that just that sizzle is a little bit loud, it's a little bit harsh for my liking. And I'm getting ready to turn that chicken now in just a moment. As you see, it's just starting to turn, see a little bit now. You can scrape just the bottom of the pan. Those bits aren't ready. Just give it a second longer. Now you don't have to use the peppers if you don't want to. You can use different colours or this colour or whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. Again, cooking for 4 and cooking for 2. So you're cooking for 4, so just use the full onion. I'm only going to use half. But the chicken, you can use 2 chicken breasts for it. You don't have to use any more than 2 when you're making the likes of a chow mein. Again, check out YouTube/BMO to see videos on how to do this stuff in your own time. You can cut, learn how to cut all different vegetables, make your life far easier. So that's good and that's good. We're going to stick that in there. Now I'm not using salt in this, and I wouldn't advise you to either just yet, because you've got salt in the soy sauce. So you don't want to be putting a bunch of salt into your food. So remember, some ingredients that you use will have more salt than other ingredients. So just watch out for that, and you don't over salt your food for your family. That's pretty important. Salt isn't a good one for us. So being aware of your salt intake for your family is pretty important. Now, so that's almost ready to go. I've the meat sealed, so I've got that lovely kind of fried flavour coming off the pan, which is great. I have my noodles already cooked, so I'll show you the noodles I use. I'm using the medium egg noodles. Blue Dragon, they're basically much the same, to be honest with you. These come in catered massive boxes, and I don't know half the time who makes them, to be honest with you. There's no brand on them most of the time. They're the same. So about a nest for a child portion, and a nest and a half to 2 for an adult's portion. Boil it in your water. Bring your water to the boil. A little bit of salt. Add in your noodles. Give them about a minute boiling. Take them off, strain them, and run cold water all over them. And that's your noodles. That's your noodles ready to go. Now, I'm just going to strain these noodles here behind you. Let those strain out for a moment there so the water will run off properly. So I'm not adding water to this. And this is almost ready to go. So let's get this one on, and let's get our broccoli started. Kettle of boiling water here. Make it a little faster first. And there you go. So we'll turn that right up because I want that to boil fairly quickly. So we'll grab a chicken stock pot. Now you can use vegetables as well. I wouldn't really advise using beef. And I'm only going to use a few little bits of broccoli here to show you guys this. You don't want to cook that full head, because again, I'm not cooking for 4 people here. Right, that water's already boiling, so I know I'm good to put that in now. I'm not putting any salt in. I'm just going to put about a quarter of the chicken stock pot. You see? And this is just almost there. Almost there. Now, you can do a thing where you can keep your vegetables kind of crispy in that. I'm showing kind of people who kind of aim in these videos at families that want to cook for a family. So therefore I'm not doing that. I'm cooking it a bit more because you know yourself that crunch element might turn a lot of kids off. So this is just soy sauce. I'm using a gluten-free version. So about a tablespoon into your water. A little drop of garlic. So about half a garlic clove, or about a quarter of a teaspoon. And about a tablespoon of oyster sauce. Give it a little stir around. And that's on the boil there, lovely. Now, my spring onion. I want these to have that little bit of crispiness to them. So I'm just going to get rid of the ends of the stalks there. That's the bit we don't want. And now, there you go, in that goes. I'll turn that down just a little. So broccoli, when it goes in, bring it to the boil basically. You don't need to cook it a huge amount. Bring it to the boil it for maybe a minute, and then turn it off and strain it then. It's ready, it's good to go. And finally we're going to get our sauce ready for this. So we'll turn that right down. Oops, that's beyond it to work. Just down to a simmer, and let me show you the sauce. So all we'll do is we'll grab just a regular coffee mug, and I'm going to stick some boiling water into that, about a quarter of it, so about 50 milliliters of water. I'm going to grab about another quarter of that stock pot, stick that in there, a little drop of my garlic. See, this is a sawtooth. You see the black on the bottom of my sawtooth over here? That's great, that's flavour, and that's going to be gorgeous in my chow mein. So now, give that a little stir. Oop. I should have used a fork for that. And we'll add about a tablespoon of soy sauce. Oops. And we'll add about 2 of oyster. There you go. That's just Panda brand. I believe you can get it in most supermarkets and places. I buy it from an Asian store. It's a lot cheaper. So we'll just give that a stir. It doesn't have to be dissolved perfectly. And we turn our broccoli off. That's good. We'll pour that in there. Give it a stir around. Turn your heat back up now. Get it nice and hot again. You want that liquid boiling, nice boiling before you put your noodles into it. Let me grab my towel and just give that a little wipe. I never got a chance to do the video for the board. I'm finishing the magazine, which by the way will be in everyone's email inbox tomorrow evening. I'm looking forward to you guys getting that. I'm really looking forward to finishing it. There's a huge amount of work goes into it. So that'll be which is tomorrow evening. So anyway, now that's good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a little taste. That's good. So you want that to be a little bit salty, not overly, just a bit. And the reason for that is it gets watered down fairly fast with the noodles. The flavour, that is. So we're adding our noodles. Now that's 4 nests of noodles. See? That's a lot of noodles. So what I'm saying earlier on, use 1 nest for a family. I'm sorry, 1 nest per person. Many of you might have been going, God, we'd eat more than that, but would you though? Look. So all I'm going to do is just give, and I'm using just a carving fork for that. You can use a tongs or whatever you want to use it. I'm just giving that a nice little stir around. And again, with noodles like this, you're never going to get it truly through the noodles unless you've got a big wok and you can stir it all over the place. Most of us don't have that. So this is the best work that we've got to do it. So just take your time. Try and get it in through it. See that there now? That's got no flavour there. So whoever gets that isn't getting it. And see all that liquid? See all that liquid? That liquid is practically gone. See what I mean? It's not a wet dish at all. So that's good to go. Let's flip that off. And that one's already off. And strain that broccoli. And let's dish this absolutely gorgeous dish up. and show you just how tasty. So just grab a bowl. And this is the way you do it in the restaurant. You turn your noodles on a fork like such. You could use a tongs as well. Lift, bring in it and twist as you put it in the bowl, pushing down at the same time. It's a wonderful dish this. I'm really looking forward to having this for dinner. It's a very, very tasty dish. Yeah. Making sure that we get some of the lovely chicken and those peppers and onion and so on into each portion. Now even look at that, that's supposedly for 2 people. And that's 4 nests, so there's 6 in a packet, and that's 4 nests. Like, that's way too much for 2 people even. And there we have our noodles, and finally, let me grab gorgeous, fantastic broccoli. It's done in our delicious sauce, which we will finish off with a few. This is just toasted sesame seeds. You don't have to use them. I love them with broccoli when they're done. Broccoli is done Asian style like that. I really love it. So that's it, everyone. Thanks a million for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And tomorrow evening I'm going to make the minced beef and onion pie, the deep filled one. So proper tasty, hearty midweek meal for this rain and windy weather that we've been promised. I'll do that probably around 9 o'clock or so tomorrow evening. My first priority now is to get the magazine out to everyone. So that will be in your email inbox tomorrow evening at some point. I'm looking forward to you guys getting that. If you haven't subscribed or got a copy, you can get in our store, bma.ie/store, and you can get all of my books or magazines in there as well. They're great. They'll help you cook for your family in no time at all. So that's it. Chicken chow mein, far healthier, far better than the takeaway version. It's not packed with salt, and there you go, lovely side of Asian veg to go with it.